Defo on 5, Jeff DeForest, and of course my partner here for many, many years, the great Mike Lubitz. And it didn't take us long, Lubie. We asked a question yesterday: are the Marlins for real? We jumped on the bandwagon. We started talking about, I think we even added a game to the winning streak. It might have been 6. It might have been 5. Whatever it was, they were doing well. They were still losing ground to the Atlanta Braves, which is amazing. In spite of winning all of these games, the Braves have been on fire and have now won 7 in a row. So I watched it with great interest last night. I was kind of flipping back and forth a little bit, but I wanted to see this Eury Perez pitch. I hadn't really watched him for any length of time. I'd seen him throw a few pitches, maybe a half an inning here and there, but hadn't really seen much of him. And he's all the rage right now among rookie pitchers in the National League, as he well should be, doing phenomenal things. He goes 6 solid innings. I mean, just unbelievable. 3-hit ball, strikes out 9, doesn't walk a single hitter. Meanwhile, he's in a duel there. It was, as I texted the great Jim Sarney, it's Yuli in a dually with this guy Kikuchi from the Toronto Blue Jays, who was matching him essentially batter for batter and pitch for pitch. He goes 6, strikes out 6, only allows 2 hits in the game, and it's 0-0 going to the 7th. And I started to feel a little bit as the great late Smokin' Joe Philbin, well, he's not late, but late in terms of being a head coach here, Smokin' Joe Philbin would say, I started feeling a little bit queasy when the Marlins went to the bullpen, and I thought, no, I shouldn't feel this way. They brought in a guy that I've really had no success watching so far. It's one of those things like with Kyle Korver, where even though he was one of the top percentage three-point shooters in NBA history through his career, I never saw him hit a three-point shot. Every time it's that he had an unusual but perfect form on the shot. He shot the ball from a very high position, and it almost looked like he was hoisting a two-hander, which he wasn't. I thought, well, what is this, Guy Rogers? I mean, coming back into the NBA, and he used a two-hand set, but he wasn't, it wasn't like he was planted to the ground or anything. He had a pretty good-looking shot, and you thought most of them were going in, and every one of them either rimmed in and out or bounced around or just was slightly off. He would get robbed, and I never saw him make a shot. And same sort of thing where, there are just certain guys that you never see them do well. And Dylan Floro is one of those guys for me for the Miami Marlins. Every time he's in a game, I see him getting shelled. Now, turns out, obviously, I haven't been watching that much when Floro's been in the game because he's been doing fine for the last several outings that he's been out there. He seems to have righted the ship. It looked like he had some pretty good stuff. He comes on in the 7th inning, Lubie, and strikes out the side. He did give up a double, but came back, struck out the next 2 guys, and that was great. By the way, too, just an aside here, I was thinking, and it was one of these games, it might have been Wake Forest, Tennessee in the College World Series. I have never seen a more generous strike zone than the home plate umpire was giving both sides, actually, in that ball game. I mean, pitchers are 3 feet outside. You thought it was Angel Hernandez behind the plate again. 3 feet outside. What? What are you talking about? And one of the things, I like when an umpire actually enunciates where the pitch was when he's calling a ball. They say like, no, outside. No, that was low. Some umpires do that. A lot don't. And then when you get the inexplicable strike call and the batter is completely befuddled at the plate, they're just looking, going, what the hell? You have to be kidding me. But, that was a very generous strike zone in the College Baseball World Series, which is producing some dramatic results. And LSU, a winner last night, as they now move on to challenge one of the teams that's in the winner's bracket. I think, it's LSU and is it Wake Forest again? Or do they play the Florida Gators? Not sure how that all works with the loser's bracket. You drop in there. But not to get distracted. So the Marlins then give up 2 runs in the 8th inning. Yes. 2 runs in the 8th. I couldn't help it, though. I was envisioning as we were making those strike calls, this umpire was like hysterical, right? 3 feet outside. So they bring on a reliever in the 8th inning, replaces Floro, and he gives up a couple of runs. Tough luck runs, though. He gives up a solid double. And then a bloop single scores the run. That guy goes to second base on the throw to the plate. Another semi-bloop drops into left field, and the Marlins are down 2-0. They go down fighting, however, Lubie. Did you see the bottom of the 9th inning for the Marlins? They have Arias coming up, and he's going to precede Soler and De La Cruz.
What did you see? They had a man on first and third with 1 out, and Sanchez comes up at the bottom of the order. And it's like, all right, just get over it.
He pinch hit, I think, Jesus Sanchez.
Okay, because they had put him. Okay, he pinch hit him, and then he went into center field.
Double play, yeah.
So yeah, he has a chance to like just bring in a run, do a sac fly. He's a big dude.
Anything, yeah.
And no, it's into an inning double play. Like,
Well, and now is this just bizarre bad luck? The Marlins, far and away, lead the majors, I believe. I know they lead the National League in hitting into double plays. They've hit into an insane number of double plays. As good and as well as they've played, and the results are so positive in these one-run games, where I think they're like 15-5, something like that, in one-run games. A stark, complete 180-degree reversal from the stuff that was happening to them last year when they were horrendous under Don Mattingly, who, by the way, Donnie Baseball sighting, right? Was on the bench there. Tell me, you watched this game, Louie? I'm proud of you, my friend.
it was on.
You've transitioned to baseball? Yeah, all right.
Well, the Marlins are winning. It was on at Vega, and they're winning. And Perez was pitching, and he was dueling. He was dealing.
This kid looks like a real deal there. It's always a premature evaluation.
And it was nice to see, but they couldn't score. God damn it.
It's Jose Fernandez all over again with this guy. Eury Perez. He's everything Sixto wasn't for the Marlins organization. And now if you could get Alcantara, who goes today, turned around, which there were signs of life, right? Last couple of starts, not too bad. Sandy goes today as an underdog against Gausman for the Toronto Blue Jays, a hard-hitting team. He's 2-5, 4.97 earned run average. Not exactly Cy Young, more like Loretta Young kind of stats. Jimmy Young, the boxer. That's unfortunate because if he could get it together, I mean, look at this 1-2 combination you would have. And that's not even Perez isn't even their second starter at this point. He's like their fourth or fifth guy. Yeah, so, not bad. You could be loaded at that position for a long period of time if you can just get Sandy straightened out. I don't know. Where's Mel Stottlemyre Jr. on this? Is he working with him every day? Is he in his ear? Come on, Sandy, you can do it. You can do it. I don't know. But the Marlins absolutely lace a bunch of shots in the ninth inning. All three guys hit the ball like rockets. Arise hits a sharp line drive to left field. They happen to be shading him that way because he hits to all fields. And so the left fielder was near the line. I don't know, maybe protecting against the extra base hit. It wouldn't have mattered because they were up 2. So I don't know that you go into the no doubles defensive strategy, which usually leads to a defeat. Same thing as the prevent defense. But a sharp line drive to left, and then Soler comes up, hits a bomb to right center field. And much like, what do they call the new stadium for the College World Series? I should know. It used to be Rosenblatt, and then they built a new ballpark there in Omaha, which seems to be cavernous, as the word would go, almost impossible to hit home runs. So all these heavy-hitting teams like LSU and some of the others where you look, and every guy's got 20-plus homers on the season. I mean, these are college guys. Well, where are they getting these guys from? What's that?
Charles Schwab Field of Omaha.
Charles Schwab Field of Omaha is impossible to hit a home run in. I mean, you do see home runs, but whereas they used to go flying out of the park at Rosenblatt Stadium. And it was weird, too, calling games there, Lubie, because the perspective was a bit strange. You were way up in the press box by comparison to other ballparks that you would normally see where college facilities have a press box. They're normally essentially just a little bit above home plate and, back from the field, obviously, but, behind maybe the really excellent lower bowl seats that you would get. So you have one perspective there, but you're way up in the sky, or you were at Rosenblatt. And, you're used to judging home runs like at Marklight Stadium where everything goes out of the park. And all of a sudden you'll see a ball. And I almost felt like John Sterling there a couple of times. There's a high fly ball, deep left field. That thing is going to get out of here. And, look at that. Second baseman makes the catch. Didn't even have his back to the plate. He was able to backpedal for that one, Sonny. What do you think about that? And you do feel like a fool if you're, got all excited, got a big, Woody there thinking, oh, good, here's a home run. I get to do my home run call. And next thing you know, the ball's caught by the catcher. I mean, it's slightly embarrassing. This ballpark, almost impossible, this Charles Schwab, to hit home runs out of. And, in some ways, you would have to say the same thing about Lone Shark Park, no? If you're going left center, right center field, that ball seems to have to travel an extra couple of miles to get out of there. So Soler hits one that's caught at the wall. And then De La Cruz came up, and he also laces a shot. And all three guys ended up hitting very hard hit outs. And that was it, 2-0. The Marlins go down. So there goes the streak. Do we jump off the bandwagon now, Lubie? Do we deem that they're not for real? What do you think?
And the Braves won again.
Braves win again. Unbelievable. I was living vicariously through our friend Big Rich, our mutual friend Big Rich, who made a 6-element parlay on baseball last night, $15 to try and win 400 and change. This is the new wave of wagering, where you bet a small amount of money on an impossible set of circumstances, and you figure, okay, well, it was only $15. And if you do the math on that, it's kind of like we say about betting golf, where you're getting 30 to 1 sometimes on a guy that easily could be among the favorites, and you're thinking, okay, if I'm right one time, like we were with Martin Keimer, are we still living off that? I don't know. I think I've only cashed one other time hitting the winner of a golf tournament, and that was with Jordan Spieth. So I got 45 to 1 and 14 to 1. Let's say I made the same wager every time. Say it was $20 just to make the math easy. So how many times could you afford to lose? You picked up 900 and 280, 1180. You could afford to lose like 55 more tournaments. Not bad, right?
Yeah,
if you're betting it every week, you can go for a year off those 2 wins.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I guess the Keimer thing was 2014. Was that? Was it 16 or 14? I don't know. It was a long fucking time ago, the last time we cashed. Anyway, Big Rich, he had what? He had a bunch of favorites. He had the Yankees last night. They won. He had the team that beat him. His loss came of the 6 items. He lost the Rangers game to the White Sox, the Texas Rangers. And did you see what happened there? They got hosed.
Oh, God.
I mean, one of the strangest calls I've ever seen. Remember when, I don't know, did you ever catch, Lubie? Did you ever don the tools of ignorance in your baseball playing days? No? They didn't put you behind the plate because they couldn't find a position for you?
I was tiny. They weren't putting a little dude, a catcher.
Every now and then you'd see a small guy that was catching. Mostly it was the fat kid that was behind the plate. I wasn't that fat kid, nor was I the small guy, but I was a huge Yogi Berra fan. So when I finally got into organized baseball, which was at the Belmore Little League level, and when I was 11 years old and moved to Long Island, didn't have any organized stuff going on in New York. And I had never actually played in a game that had officials and a lined field and all of that. Now, the field itself wasn't anything great. A lot of crabgrass out there in the outfield, and you get some wicked hops. It was very easy to end up being Tony Kubek, right? Just taking a grounder to the Adam's apple if you were trying to get in front of him. Get in front of the ball, little Johnny. And it's right in the throat. But, yeah, I mean, catching was no bargain, from a physical standpoint. It definitely wasn't. And, I did get behind the plate a couple of times. And then I thought, you know what? This sucks. I think it was after a foul tip hit me in the side of the cup, and the cup wasn't exactly completely covering all of my testicles there. Not that I want to get this gross early in the morning. And then you're laying on the ground, and, it's always weird. It was kind of like this incident the other day where you're laying on the ground, and in this case, I was not fine. I was in agony. And I think that's when I finally tore off the gear and said, that's it. Let me see if I can play another position here. Enough with your Yogi Berra fantasies. Let me be the Mick. That would be it. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on in baseball. Braves have won 7 straight. Cincinnati 10 straight. San Francisco 9 straight. The Boston Red Sox. How about this? The AL East, Lubie. You think it's the toughest division in Major League Baseball right now? AL East. Yankees are 10 games back, and everybody in the AL East is above 500.
Jesus.
How about that? Everybody. The Rays got off to that phenomenal start. They're still 4 up on, not the Yankees, but Baltimore. Yanks are 9.5 back. And the Blue Jays are above 500, as are the Red Sox at 39 and 35. Worst division in baseball is?
NL East.
The Central, right? AL Central?
Oh, AL Central. Oh,
yes. Minnesota. Everybody's sub 500 in the AL Central. That's where you want to be. If I'm the Marlins, I want to move to the AL Central. And they would win the division in a runaway. Is it just unfortunate luck of the draw? Because, you're in a division right now with a team that actually did the one thing that everybody's always saying, we're going to tank for a few years, and then we're going to be great for a long time. And the Astros, you could put in that category also, even though they're not having a great year so far this year. They still could end up on top. It's possible.
They won the World Series.
Yes. and they have multiple championships now after tanking and being horrible, losing 100 games plus for many seasons in succession. What was it, 2, 3 years in a row? They lost 100. I know the Braves
It was
think
three.
they did 100 losses 3 years in a row. Unbelievable. And here they are now, just impossible to catch. So what are we thinking now, Lubie? Have to take this afternoon game today, 12:10 start.
I'm thinking I don't like the Marlins lineup. Like I actually sat there and they kept showing the lineup. I'm like, this is their fucking line.
How are they doing it?
I
Exactly.
know Dela Cruz has been better, but he's not a meat of the order Major League Baseball hitter.
Not the guy you figure is hitting fourth.
Soler's fine and Ariza's fine, but the rest of the lineup, I mean, I was like,
John Birdie, he hustles. He's a good player.
He's
He
okay.
hits his 275. He's all right, functional.
it's weird to me that he's a starting guy, though. I think of him as we sat down, we talked.
You would think he was like the 25th guy on the roster, right,
Yeah, he's a
John Birdie?
utility guy.
Yeah. If he's in pinstripes right now, he's playing in Wilkes-Barre,
like Cooper's
Syracuse.
okay, but Cooper's like a 7th, 8th batter. They have him at like 5 or 6. Like their lineup is just not good.
Cooper's a bit of a mystery at this point. Started out really well, and then he has cooled off and leveled off at that point where he looks like a 230 hitter.
Gurriel sucks now. He's not the guy he was years ago. Like I'm just looking at the lineup and I'm like, no wonder they have 0. Like,
it's incredible. Yeah, they were really good. I mean, as good as Perez was, this guy Kikuchi had them shut down to an even larger degree. Incredible. All right, so we jinxed them. We screwed it up. We admit it. We'll get off the bandwagon, people. Don't worry, 5 reasons, people. We are not going to be rooting for the Marlins at any time the rest of the year, and maybe they can go on and make the playoffs. Let's put it that way. As soon as we got on the bandwagon, we
literally
0.0, Mr. Professor. All right, we're coming back with the Defo Show on South Florida Live. You can catch us there. And, of course, portions of that also repeat on 5 Reasons Sports Network. Subscribe to South Florida Live. You can also catch Mike Mayo's Lunchbox there. And another marathon session for the Mayo Man yesterday. He went to 2 of our sponsors and ate, like, large meals at both.
Meals, though. Like, I could see going to a pizza place and having a slice.
Maybe a slice for lunch just to hold you over till dinner, yeah.
They got a pizza for 3 people. I guarantee he had half the pizza. I know him too well.
Oh, yeah, because he deliberately had 3/4 of the pizza covered with those cherry bomb hot peppers that nobody else can eat.
I just love he was like, it's half and half. And then the picture, like 2 slices had mushrooms and the other 6 were his.
Yeah. You could be a fire-eating sword swallower and not be able to handle the heat of those bell peppers or whatever they are, cherry peppers that Mayo craves at the pizza spot. Then he goes to the Cafe Seville and has the what is that? The veal chop.
No, but
stuffed veal chop. Not even just a veal chop. Stuffed.
There's like 5 cheeses.
My cholesterol level just went up even talking about freaking Mayo, man. We'll be at the Even Keel Fish Shack later on today if you want to come out and say hello. We're hoping Jim Sarney joins us. All right, we'll see you next time on the next edition of Defo on 5.